Hello, everybody, and welcome to Play Some Video Games, the only gaming podcast with a Switch in the left hand and a mic in the right. It is I, your host, Kevin Austin, and with us this week is none other than Seth. Seth, sir, how are we doing tonight?
I'm good. Wait.
Donnie's making a lot of noise for some reason.
Sorry. I'm the hero of time. Anyway, I'm good.
Cool. And for those of you not watching on YouTube, you're really confused, but Seth was just showing off his Zelda shirt. And then also with us this week is Mr. Donnie Reese. Sir, how art thou?
I've been better.
That was lacking your normal enthusiasm.
Greetings, Koopalings!
Greetings, both goblins!
There you go. I love how we've absolutely converted Seth. He's one of us now.
He is one of us.
I feel like at this point...
After we're done with this, I'm playing Mass Effect. So
That's fine. You're still one of us.
Yep.
I mean, he's just got full-blown Nintendo Shack status now.
You're all in. You bought an amiibo, too, so I don't even want to hear it.
My son has strep throat.
Oh.
And I had to take 2 days off of work to stay home with him, which wasn't like off of work. I was working from home quite a bit, actually. And I woke up this morning, and now I've got something in my throat. You know what I'm saying? Get that. Oh, it's getting sore. It's getting scratchy.
Yep, you feel it coming.
I feel it coming. And, you know, I'm coming off a week-long vacation and then 2 days out sick.
Oh, that's right.
I know. So my boss is already like, are you serious? Like, you have to take 2 days off for your kid? And I'm like, yeah, and I'm afraid I'm going to have to take more time off. So that is all. I put that out there to lead up to this. Have any of you ever gargled or drank apple cider vinegar?
No, but I've heard it helps.
Wife has, but I have not.
So I kept reading about that online because I don't want to go to the doctor yet. So I'm giving that a try. I went upstairs right before we recorded, and I gargled with apple cider vinegar, and I felt like I just eradicated anything that was inside of my throat. It was
Good
like
or bad, including the coating inside.
Exactly. It was like drinking like lava. Oh. And then I'm washing that all down with rum. So
there you go.
Cheers.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been a minute, Kevin. I feel like it's been a minute since I've been on, just kind of in general.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you've been on, but we haven't been on together since before the Switch even launched. So it's been quite some time there. But so then let's jump right into it. Let's catch everybody up with what we've been playing then. And I think Seth has been MIA the longest. So let's start with you, sir.
Well, as we've alluded to, I've been playing a lot of Switch. Just at this point, maybe half hour, 45 minutes ago, I defeated Ganon in Breath of the Wild.
It's Calamity Ganon. Thank you very much. Worst name ever, but anyway.
Just wait until you get in the room. I don't know. He's dressed in a pink tutu, and spoiler.
It's no worse than the Gerudo village then. So
that's true. That's true. Actually, and this has nothing to do with Breath of the Wild. It would be previous games that I haven't played. Is he a Gerudo? Does he descend?
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. At least, maybe not. I don't know that it's mentioned anywhere in Breath of the Wild that I've seen, but I read somewhere that he was Gerudo.
Yep.
So anyway, I have beaten Breath of the Wild, and it's a great game. Easily the best game I've played this year, with the major caveat of I have not played any games that have come out in 2017 this year other than what came to Switch. So
it's better than 1-2 Switch.
It's better than 1-2 Switch, guaranteed. But it's the most fun I've had with a game. It's the longest I've played a game since at least No Man's Sky came out, and I played it longer than No Man's Sky. So great game. Other than that, I've been playing some Disc Jam on PS4, free on Plus this month. It's a good game, a little bit thin on options, but it's a lot of fun, and you can jump in and play 3 or 4 matches in the course of 10 minutes, and it's good fun, but there's no depth there, and that's really about all I've been playing. Other than other Nintendo Switch games that we might talk about later.
Yeah, we'll get to those later for sure. I'm pretty much in the same boat as you.
One other thing, if we're doing the sharing what we're drinking thing, usually I'm just drinking water.
That's true.
So tonight, right now, I am drinking. It's called. There's my camera. It's called Rheingeist. It's made in Cincinnati, Ohio, a Vienna-style lager. And I'm almost done. So pretty soon, I'm going to break into from my own county, Licking County, which some of you make fun of before. We have this lake called Buckeye Lake, and it has a brewery. And I'm going to be breaking into some Buckeye Lake Blonde in a little bit. So anyway, I suppose that this image has made our video podcast now PG-13. So anyway, so that's what I'm drinking, and that's what I'm playing.
Very cool. So I'm pretty much in the same boat as you, other than Breath of the Wild and the Switch games we will get to momentarily. The only other thing I've been playing has been Destiny. Still picking away at that. Really, it's got its claws in me good, so Destiny 2 is going to be an issue for me because I'm gonna play the mess out of that. I feel the way this is going right now, unless I overkill myself playing Destiny 1 before Destiny 2 comes out. But that's pretty much it for me. I'm not drinking anything entertaining. Some black cherry flavored water because I have the beginnings of a cold hitting me again for like the 19th time. I think ever since I got that pneumonia bout, my immune system has just been wrecked. So anytime somebody sneezes within a mile radius, I'm getting sick. So taking it easy in the drinking part there. So. But we'll get to the Switch games later. So, Donnie, tell us what you've been drinking and what you've been gargling. So, what you've been playing?
Zelda, just kind of around the clock Zelda. Now, I think I'm 70 hours in now, ish. We've got 3 of the 4 dungeons done. I think about 64 shrines, my last count. Sad part is, I took my week vacation. I turned 30. Went out to a comedy show, so shout out to Jim Jeffries coming to Atlanta. It was fun. And I played like a madman. Like, you guys saw the pictures, like 6 hours a day for like 6-7 days in a row. And then I went back to work, and I've played like 10 hours since, and it's like it's very disheartening. I'm just like,
that's my life right now. I play a little bit.
The problem with it, I don't like playing it in small chunks.
Yeah.
There's certain games that, like the AIDS too. Like, I very much enjoyed playing Hyrule Warriors in chunks.
Sure.
Small bite-sized chunks. I hate playing this game in small and I know that I feel like the shrines are there for you to be able to do it. But the problem is now, I think with like half of the shrines somewhat gathered, I feel like now I'm reaching that point where I have to go find the side quest to unlock the shrine, to get to the shrine, to do the shrine. And it takes longer than 20 or 30 minutes. So I have realized already that I'm more inclined to go, I'm not going to play this game if I don't have 2 hours to play it. Because I love it that much that I just want to sit down and just be like enthralled with it. Outside of that, I'm playing 1-2 Switch. We bought the game. I traded in some GameStop credit, got it pretty cheap. So we're playing that. I'd like to go ahead and shout out to that game that I've played it twice at work already.
Did you milk some cows?
Yeah, we did. Which is real funny because we make fun of those stupid commercials, right? And we've got Karen going up on the rooftop and whatnot. We're like, this is ridiculous. We did a marathon here in Atlanta last weekend, and I have to open up our office at like 5 a.m. until like 4 in the afternoon to support this thing. And we get all these EMS people together. And I don't know if you know any paramedics, but they're a rowdy, lively bunch of people. They're like the modern day pirate. And of course, one of them knows that I'm a huge Nintendo fan. And every year when we do this, she always comes and she has to play my 3DS. One year I brought in so obviously this year I brought in my Switch. She walks in at like 5:30 in the morning. She's like, "Did you bring the Switch?" I was like, I covered. And we totally had a moment at the office at like 6:30 in the morning while we're waiting for these while we're waiting for these marathon runners to fall out as they're running like 20 miles or however far they're running. It's ridiculous. We sat there and we pulled out the bonds and we set it up on the little stand and we did quick draw and we milked the cows and we guessed how many balls were in the thing. It was a very fun experience. Honestly, something that was an experience that you could only have with that game, that you could only have with that system. Like there's no comparativeness out there.
No, there's not.
I was humbled a bit when there's Zelda, like, this is the brand new Zelda game, like, look how amazing it is. And she was like, there's no Mario? And I was like, no, there's no Mario. It made me remember that a lot of people don't really care about Zelda, and at least not as much as we do.
Yep.
So there's that. I've just been doing Zelda and some other games that we'll talk into later, and some 1-2 Switch here recently. Hang on. Has anybody picked up their 3DS?
Nope.
I did today to pack it with the kids as they went off on the trip.
My 3DS has been here for like a month. I haven't turned it on.
3DS game. I have played a tiny bit of Yoshi Woolly World just because I have a 4-year-old and she's playing through it, and I'll help her beat a boss here and there.
Yeah, mine is in the
fast things, but
mine's in my daughter's room, and it's been there since the Switch launched. So she's been playing some games on her own, but yeah, they took it over, and it's like, it's fine.
Yep.
I don't have a need for you right now anymore. So maybe when the Pikmin game comes out, I'll pick it back up and play. But
no, you won't.
No, if Pikmin comes out, I will. I would totally play Pikmin, but I don't think anything else will be coming that'll get me to pick up the 3DS again.
Anybody into Fire Emblem?
Not Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem, whatever's coming out.
No, only because with Fire Emblem, I love the Fire Emblem games, but until like Fire Emblem Warriors come out, they're all the same. Mm-hmm. And this next one coming out is just a reimagining of an older game. So if anything, it's going to feel older than the last one that you just played. So it's like, if you've played one Fire Emblem, you've kind of played them all. Yes, they do enhancements. Yes, they do change stuff. I'm not going to take that away from them, but they're also similar. So it's not going to be enough to make me go buy something on a console I'm not playing anymore just to play that again. So I'll play Warriors on the Switch instead.
Did you see the special edition that they're releasing?
I did. So I did see that, and I anticipate Donnie buying 2 of them and then trading them in within a week for more money than what he paid for them.
They sold out in less than 40 minutes today.
Yeah, they did. I saw that. They went super quick.
I read that Echoes does something new, or Shadows of Valentia, or whatever it's called. I read that there's something new to the gameplay there. I know for one, like, archers can counterattack even when they're like right next to each other. Yes. But also there's like something weird with, like, I guess healing or something. I was listening to a podcast, I can't remember, but they were saying something like you're going to need healers now because maybe other people in your party can't heal each other and whatnot, and like, so they're kind of changing some of that up. But I'm with you. It's really hard to pick up the 3DS now.
Yep.
You're just like, oh.
Unless it's in your way and you're just moving out of the way of your Switch. Like, oh, what are you doing here? Yeah, exactly. Who let you in here?
Oh, poor 3DS.
Yeah. We'll have to bury it like we did the Wii U with a special podcast. Even though the 3DS, they still make them, they still sell tons of games. We're just like, we're done with you. You're all set.
I vow not to trade mine in.
I'm not trading in. The kids will still use it, and I figure if we're actually on the road and like I want to play the Switch, then somebody else can play the 3DS, so they can leave me alone. But
I got like 10 faceplates.
We have 2 3DSs. Perfect. I have 2 kids who play games, and they can play that, and I can play Switch.
I said I've got like 10 faceplates, and I've got like 60 games on that thing.
You do.
See, that's the thing with the 3DS is that, like, I ended up going so digital, like, in the second half. I've got just a ton of games just sitting there that, like, if I trade it in, you lose it forever. Yep. I think it's almost worth it more to me, almost like as a legacy box, just leave it there. I mean, because what are you going to get out of it? Right? You can trade a 3DS in for like $60. You can get like a game.
No,
trade it in for Mario.
If you trade in a GameStop and put it towards something Switch related, they're still giving you $100.
So you get a game and a half.
Yeah.
I'm all right.
Or a third of the console.
Yeah, I'm all right.
You don't want a second Switch?
No. You can't, like, the networking stuff is locked to that. Holy crap. I completely forgot. I told you guys in the chat, I got hacked. Somebody hacked my Nintendo account.
Yeah, you talk about this.
Yeah. So everybody, make sure you sign up for those email alerts from the eShop if you haven't already. Yeah. For some reason I did. So I was sitting at work. Was it last week? Was it last week?
It was late last week, yeah.
Yeah, I was sitting at work, and I got an email that says, "Thank you for your purchase of Pokemon Pikachu's Party or Poke Park, Pikachu's Adventure," or something like that. And I'm sitting there going, "We don't
I already own that. Why did I buy that again?"
I'm like, "We don't have anything that could play that." Like, I was thinking, like, did somebody buy it on the Wii U and like this is like a late receipt? Like, did my son just be able to do it? But then I remembered I wouldn't have gotten that email because the Wii U we have, for those of you that haven't listened to the podcast, the Wii U that we do have now was provided to me by a friend, and I'm using his ID. So I wouldn't even have gotten that email.
Yep.
This was from my account, Donnie K. Reese, like NNID. You just bought Pokemon. And I was like, no, I didn't. So I go to my .Nintendo and I look it up, and the hell if I didn't. Like, it's in there. They gave me points and coins for it and everything. So I call Nintendo and I'm like, we don't have that machine anymore. And they were like, well, somebody's got it, and they've got your ID on it, and they either guessed your password, or it was never wiped correctly, or for whatever reason, they can do that. And because I linked my Switch Nintendo account with my NNID, they linked those funds that I'd been stashing in gift cards. So somebody got it and just like went to town. They ended up spending like $70. Now, for anybody listening, Nintendo was fantastic. And I don't say that as a fanboy. I'm saying that for real. Like, they were great. They were like, well, we're going to get this fixed. So go ahead and verify your account, do your do your address and your name and all that. And they were like, all right, we're going to go ahead and unlink these. So they were like, sorry, you're not going to be able to get your gold platinum Nintendo coins from your Wii U purchases anymore. And I'm like, okay. Shucks. And they're like, well, let's go ahead and get you a refund. Anyway, long story short, I was on the phone with them for like 25 minutes. I didn't have to sit on hold at all. The phone rang 3 times. I got put right to a person that answered the phone that got me to the other person, refunded my money, and literally by the time I got off
the gold coins.
Yeah, they did let me keep the gold coins from the purchase that they had. They're still there.
You can't use them on anything.
But yeah, so that was an interesting. It was a little scary to sit there because I had been stashing this credit, like all this trade credit. I've been rolling over into gift card and stashing the eShop and getting ready for all these indies that are coming. And I'm like, oh no, somebody just flying through my cash. But no, Nintendo was great. I just had to show them that I didn't have anything, and they were able to just look that up and got my money back.
That worked. And the best part of that whole story is we just totally got our episode title. So everybody, welcome to Play Some Video Games episode 66. Donnie doesn't wipe correctly. So just...
Really?
So you said it. What kind of image am I going to get for this?
Yeah,
I don't know, but that's on you. That's some toilet paper
I don't
background.
Like I pay for this. All right? Veto. President's veto vote. We're about to Trump this right out of the gate. There you go. Trump this. But it was interesting because I've mentioned in the past, I'm very close with a GameStop manager, and he's always told me, look, don't factory reset your stuff. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know like if that's what caused it or if somebody just got my account, But they always told me, they're like, don't factory reset your stuff because it takes it longer because we have to update it and everything before you can trade it in. Plus, we send it to Nintendo for them to clear it before they send it back to us for resale. Apparently, it's like a GameStop-wide thing. Nintendo does those refurbished consoles and all that.
Yeah.
So, so I didn't. And I just walked in, and I remember when I traded it in, the kid that took it was like, yeah, don't do that. It's not with waste of your time, waste of our time. And I don't think I'll ever do that again. I don't know that to be the case, but
I'll say that's weird because I traded in the Wii U on Amazon. They tell you ahead of time, like, make sure you delete any data. You don't want anybody else to see off of it before you send it in. So,
I mean, it sounds like
mine, and Jason did it too on his. So,
it sounds like the smart thing to do, but
yeah. Oh, so let's move on.
Maybe it was your GameStop manager friend who stole your.
If it is, he got a free copy of Pokemon for me, and then a couple other games. I actually kind of felt. It felt kind of. No, he can totally play them.
He can, but not you. You can.
Oh, right. No, but I thought it was kind of neat, though, because I got all my money back, And then whoever bought those games totally gets to keep them. I was like, well, can you take my NNID off their thing? Because I have the cool thing about Nintendo, about all of your purchases and everything being tied to a console. When you buy something on it, the serial number to the console comes with the receipt. So I was actually able, I was actually able to. The machine that purchased stuff with my funds is this machine. And I asked him, I was like, well, can you just like take my account off of it? And they're like, no, it's just stored in the machine. He's like, but we can unlink it from your other stuff and that'll fix the problem. And I was like, so there's somebody out there just like playing Mario Kart 8 under my ID. Possibly.
That's weird.
Isn't it weird?
That is weird. All right, so let's move on to the reason that we're here this evening. And it's not going to be a normal show tonight. We want to talk about the games that aren't getting as much attention as our beloved Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is. So we're going to talk a little bit about the different games we've played on the Switch that are not featuring Link and the Master Sword and Calamity Ganon, if you will. So for me, I guess let's run down what we already have. And then we can kind of dive into each game individually. And I know Donnie had some kind of loose structure he wanted to go with. So for me, games not Zelda, I have 1-2 Switch. I have Shovel Knight, Treasure Trove. I have Blaster Master Zero. And I feel like I have something else. Oh, Snipperclips. Duh. So those are the 4 titles I currently have now as of we're recording this, depending on what comes out in the eShop tomorrow as we're recording this. That may change. But for now, that's what I got. Is there a golf?
There is. Neo Geo golf games coming tomorrow.
Which has been available on PS4 for like 2 months. So
and apparently Kyle tried to tell me and I didn't know.
I told you.
Oh, well, I didn't know.
Don't pay attention.
Shows you my ecosystem. It looks great though. Wherever you're going to play it, it really looks good. I never played the Neo thing. It's got cool little like flash animations.
Yeah, the Neo Geo stuff always looked good, and it looked way ahead of its time. But yeah.
Wait, go ahead.
I was going to flash you, but I just
don't do that. Don't do that. Nobody, our fans don't want to see that. You're going to get taken down off of YouTube.
There's going to be even less people watching us on YouTube than there already is now. Thanks.
It's not possible.
They're terrified. So before we go down a dark road, Seth, what do you have that's not Zelda?
I also have 1-2 Switch, Snipperclips, Shovel Knight, Treasure Trove, and Fast RMX, and I think that's it.
Okay, and then Donnie, sir.
I think I have all of those games plus Bomberman minus Blaster Master.
I was about to say, I'm like, oh, you didn't have Blaster Master.
I almost did.
I don't think you'd like it. I don't think you'd like it, to be honest. So save yourself thing. I don't think it's your kind of game.
Okay, that's why I didn't.
Yeah, no, save yourself. I mean, it's cheap. It's $8, whatever it is. But there's gonna be more stuff you'll be into coming down the pipeline, I'm sure. So, where do you want to start then, Donnie? Take it away from here.
Well, first off, because this is a little different than our normal podcast feed, let's go ahead and let them know why. It's because we have this big Horizon review cast that's dropping this weekend. So instead of having one gigantic, like 3-hour-long podcast or something like that, we decided to kind of cut this up. So it's a little more topical week over here at PSVG. Honestly, this was Seth's idea. He wanted to talk about some games that weren't Zelda because Zelda is all the mind share right now. I mean, and deservingly so, right? Deservingly so. But there's some other good stuff here. So what I wanted to do is just kind of talk about some of the games we play, what we like, what we don't like, and I was thinking maybe we'd rank like our top 3 choices for anybody that's thinking of getting a Switch or just bought a Switch like towards the end. And I'll kick it off here with the perfect complement game to Zelda in Snipperclips. Snipperclips is a smash hit here at my house. So we played Snipperclips the other day during the marathon, and we couldn't do the basketball level. We were doing, and I did it with my daughter, but me and the paramedic girl, we were sitting there trying, and she couldn't do it. And she kept knocking the ball out, and I was like, "Cut me!" And she'd jump, and I was like, "Cut me!" And she'd reappear, and but we had a blast. We probably spent 20 minutes trying to clear a level, and we failed, and had a great time failing. And that is the interesting thing about Snipperclips is that because it's so cooperative, it's so much fun. And I have actually been enjoying playing it solo as well. I kind of play it when I'm on the couch watching WWE. If you didn't know, you can play Snipperclips in one-player mode, and you can toggle back and forth between the characters, and they do kind of shuffle the stage a little bit and require you to do a little bit more. They usually give you a shape that they ask you to fill like almost 100%. So you got to be like real finite with how you cut everything and whatnot. And it's interesting. It's really pretty too. I like the paper aesthetic. It's a really fun compliment. It's a great come check out this console that I have. Pop off these Joy-Cons and have some fun and laugh and enjoy actually playing a video game.
I know my kids both like Snipperclips. That's the game. They played that, and they've played 1-2 Switch, and Snipperclips is the game that they asked to play. Even though they can't quite, they play it together. I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old, and they can't quite get it together. I usually have to hop in and help out. But they, I just think that they like the characters and everything. And then I really only played it one other time with my wife when we got through the whole first section. And we had a lot of fun. And we really, we've played, she's not a big gamer. We've played Rock Band, and we've played some of the early Lego games, Lego Indiana Jones. But really, other than that, we haven't played a whole lot together. And Snipperclips is something, we played it for an hour and a half and had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, totally. For me, I'll say it right now, Snipperclips is the best use of $20 on your Nintendo Switch, hands down. It's great for people who like games and are into games, and it's a great introduction games for people who maybe aren't so familiar with the concept and the console itself. Mm-hmm. It's just a lot of fun. I mean, it's a lot of laughs. Like Donnie mentioned, it's cooperative in its nature. I have not attempted to do single player. I don't think that I honestly would be interested in doing a single player, but my wife and I had a blast with it. We've played, it's got to be closer to 2 to 3 hours, I think, of Snipperclips. She played with her sister for a good 3 or 4 hours while I sat there and watched one day. So, I mean, I don't know too much about the developer of this. Have they done anything else, or is this like their debut game? Because it's incredible. Like, for something that really should be on other consoles and should have more attention, they kind of just went all in on the Switch. We're one of the first people to come out and say, "Hey, we're launching with the Switch," and I mean, they nailed it, and for only $20.
That's a great question, and a month ago I would have been able to answer you, because a month ago I looked them up and kind of did the deep dive on them, and then just kind of forgot about it. I think
this is their first big game. They're from somewhere in the UK. The game was originally called Friendshapes.
Yep,
I
remember that.
And they demoed it, and I think Nintendo came to them, and they were.
They essentially bought it.
Looking at it on the Wii U, and then the Switch was announced, and of course, it made a lot of sense for the Switch.
Oh, totally.
Yep. They essentially bought it, from what I understand.
Yeah,
they came
good on them, because it's awesome.
Yeah, no, I really like it. I think we as a family, we're about 10 hours in.
Wow.
And just to follow up on what you said, the reason I've been playing mainly the solo mode is to open up levels for the other kids to play.
Oh, sure, right.
And because I will tell you that if I'm not on the team trying to beat it, the success rate fails drastically. Me and my daughter can clear levels, me and my son can clear levels, and me and my wife can clear levels. But any combination of those other three, and it's a lot of fun for me to sit back and watch, because there's a lot of vindictiveness that occurs. I'm like, all right, get ready to jump, and then they just cut the person and they go all over.
What the heck? Now, I don't have a second set of Joy-Cons, and I don't imagine Seth would have done what I'm about to ask then, but I think you do, Donnie. Have you guys played the 4 players?
Actually, no, we haven't played the 4 players. We have played with the grip, though, and not the Joy-Con sideways thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I believe, if I remember correctly, I may have I confused something else, but I think the first time we played it, I think I played with a Pro controller, and I think my daughter played with a grip.
With the grip.
Because I mentioned it before, what I don't like about playing Snipperclips, not that this has really anything to do with the game at all, but what I don't like about playing Snipperclips, when you pop out the Joy-Cons, you hold them sideways. When you quit the game and go back to the menu, you can't turn your controllers back and keep going, because it still thinks they're sideways. You have to reset the controllers every time you quit the game. And it just bothers me. So like I was like, let's just use a controller. So
that works. Yeah. Our buddy Jacob Rush over at Nintendo Nostalgia, he told me he had played 4 players a little bit, and he's like, it is just insane as you can imagine. The crazy stuff you do with 2 people alone, and then just have 4 people hacking and snipping away, if you will. Just chaos.
I don't even think I knew that was possible. I'm going to stream that. Yeah. We're going to do that this weekend.
Yeah, I think there's like a versus mode, and then there's also a puzzle mode.
Yeah, there's 3 modes, I think, overall. The first one is like for 1 to 2 players. Second one is for
the other ones are both 2 to 4.
Yeah, they're both 2 to 4. So yeah, it should be fun and should make for a good stream there, Donnie. So I encourage you to do it because I'm not equipped to yet. I haven't bought a second set of Joy-Cons yet.
I'll do that.
So I guess I'll throw the next big game out there. 1-2 Switch.
Yeah.
Might as well get this out of the way. I'm going to pull up because I don't remember all of them off the top of my head. But this is the game, it's been talked about by a lot of people. It's a game that would have been great as a pack-in.
Yeah.
Would have been, even not as a pack-in, perfect as a $20 game.
Yep.
Still not as good as Snipperclips. But it would have been perfect at that price level. Instead, it was $50 or $40 if you're part of a gamer club.
Yeah.
And but it was still a game that I also felt like I had to have, and I think Kevin, you were the same way. That we're bringing in this new, neat-looking piece of technology with Nintendo, and Nintendo means Mario and all that stuff. And there's, what are my kids going to play? And then part of the reason why I'm part of the Nintendo Shack now is because I wanted to have something to play with them. And at launch, there just wasn't going to be anything other than Snipperclips, which, while my kids like to play, it's harder for them to play.
Absolutely.
And then 1-2 Switch, which is kind of ridiculous, but they can play it. Some of the games are tough for them, but they can play it and they can have fun. And we've had a few nights where we've done the board game team battle thing, where one night it was parents versus kids, and then part of the reason we did that is we kind of have to pass the baby between us. We have a 5-month-old, so while we're playing 1-2 Switch, we have to take turns holding the baby. But then another time we played it where I was with the younger daughter and my wife was with our older daughter, and I ended up playing a lot of it with the baby on my hip. So, I've had fun with it. I certainly recognize its shortcomings and that it's not a game that's meant to be played for 50 hours like Zelda.
Yeah.
But we've had fun in our small family setting, and I'm looking forward to playing it in the larger family setting. I assume you guys have similar thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, I'll jump in here. Pros, it is an awesome tech demo for what the Switch can do. Some of the things like where you get so many balls in the box, and the safe cracking game, like it's definitely shows the potential of what can be done with the system, so that developers can then say, how can I put this into an Assassin's Creed or something? So it's awesome for that. It is awesome in a group setting. It's fun to watch. You don't even have to play. You can just laugh watching it. Mm-hmm. On the con side, then, for me, the acting of the demos before every single time you play, like, I'm sure it's an artistic choice, but they went for the cheesiest people on the face of the earth. I don't know how they found them all, because they're all different people too. Those annoy the heck out of me. And every time you start the game and you're playing with people, it has to show you that demo every single time. I do not need a 45-second intro of people overacting to quick draw to teach me how to play the game every single time. Like, I could just tell somebody 2 seconds, like, when it says fire, aim and press the trigger. Don't shoot too early because it'll shoot the ground. I don't need the acting, so that annoys me. And then the other thing you mentioned was the price there. It was way overpriced. When you look at what we just talked about with Snipperclips being awesome, and it's only $20. This at 50 or even 40 if you have the discount, which really shouldn't count. So let's just say retail is $50. You could get Snipperclips, you can get Blaster Master Zero, and you can get the Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, which we'll all talk about all these later on, for that same price. And to me, that's just mind-blowing. But like you mentioned, I did get it to the kids as something to play, to hold us over until Mario Kart, because Snipperclips, my oldest daughter, can play no problem. My youngest, not my youngest is 2. Jeez. My middle child, she can play it as well, but the two of them together aren't really going to get that far. It's just not there yet for them. Yeah, it's not. It's tough to wrap your head around some of the levels. So they have fun playing it, but 1-2 Switch is pretty much all they've played since my middle child did try Shovel Knight for a little bit. She got to like the first level, but I mean that game is really hard if you're not used to playing traditional, 8-bit, 16-bit side-scrolling games. That can be, very jarring to some people with the jumping mechanics. It's a little bit tough if you're not used to it. So, like I said, I would have loved it for it to be in pack-in. I still would have loved it at $20. Heck, I might have even still loved it at $30. But for what it is, it's a great party game. It's a great tech demo. But other than that, it is what it is, and it's just fun. Which Nintendo does fun, so that's fine. But it wasn't quite what I was hoping for when I begrudgingly pulled that trigger.
Do you think you take the same 28 games and wrap it in a different package, wrap it in the WarioWare package? And the only Wario game I played was the one on Wii, whichever one that was. But if you wrap it in a more Nintendo-y kind of package, you don't have the annoying people and all that kind of stuff. Do you think it comes off better if it's wrapped in WarioWare instead of, or wrapped in a Mario thing? If it's a Mario.
I do. I think that would have helped it. I still would have probably felt a little ripped off then, only because the WarioWare games, if you go back, I did not play the one on Wii U, so I'm not sure there, but they have like almost 100 mini games versus this, which had the 28 or 23 or whatever it is. So I would have felt a little ripped off there, but I think absolutely you're right. If this was put into a Mario Party where, hey, you go around the board and this is the mini game in between the boards, I think that could have helped it a lot, but I think Nintendo is being very deliberate with what they're doing with their characters right now for the Switch. So I think we'll see. Mario Party will drop eventually. That's kind of a no-brainer. Hopefully, they go back to the old formula and fix it because the last couple have been terrible. But yeah. So Donnie, what do you think? Seth and I kind of been cannibalizing here the 1-2 Switch talk.
No, that's fine. I enjoy hearing it. 1-2 Switch is interesting because I agree with you that. I agree with you in the sense that I believe $50 can be better spent on other games, not 1-2 Switch, but it is one of those interesting things where it's who's asking the question. Because if you ask my wife right now what her favorite Switch game is, it's 1-2 Switch. She can give a crap about Zelda. And I just told you about the paramedic that I was playing with. She didn't give a crap about Zelda either. So I think there's a market for it.
I also think either of those people, your wife or the paramedic, buy a Switch for 1-2 Switch.
That's what I was saying too. They wouldn't buy the console, but
my wife, no. The paramedic, yes. The paramedic, her name's Betsy, by the way, so I'll stop calling her the paramedic. She doesn't listen to the show, but if she does, hey, Betsy.
There's the title of the show, the paramedic.
Betsy the paramedic.
Betsy totally.
Can you get a picture of her?
After we played 1-2 Switch, she totally said, "I have to get one of these." That's what she said. She's like, "I have to get one of these. This is really cool." Now, granted, I think the system as a whole sold more to her, but 1-2 Switch definitely was that. I can play this right now and have a lot of fun game.
Yeah.
I think 1-2 Switch is real interesting because I feel like we feel like it should be a pack-in because Wii Sports happened, and Wii Sports was a pack-in.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, they're very similar. Wii Sports only had 5 games, but I would argue they're sports games and were somewhat competitive and had a long-lasting appeal. I love Wii Sports.
And Nintendo Land had a lot more, too. So
exactly.
And wasn't there in Wii Sports a base level of stat tracking for the different games?
Yeah, I guess. Not really. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody really paid attention to that. If I can just blanket, judge everyone.
I don't know. I kept my bowling score.
Yes. And Kevin, with Nintendo Land, remember that not every Wii U came with Nintendo Land. It was not a pack-in.
That's true. All the smart people bought the right Wii U and got
it. It was a pack-in with the deluxe edition of the console, which you paid extra money for.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where, and if I remember correctly, the base Wii U was the white model. Without it was $299.
Yep, and it was $350 for the deluxe unit, but you got the 32 gig hard drive, so you got triple the hard drive space and the game for $50 more. That's why it's kind of a no brainer for most people. But
would you feel better if like you paid $350 for your Switch with 64 gigabytes and 1-2 Switch?
Yes.
Yeah, I would have.
Okay.
Yep.
And I think that's
what I paid $350 for my Switch with 32 gigabytes and 1-2 Switch. I mean,
yeah. No. I mean, I get that.
Yeah,
I get that, and I think, and that's the point I'm trying to make. I think the reason that folks are down on it because of the price has a lot to do with the fact that Nintendo Land Wii Sports kind of makes us feel like we should have it, whereas other consoles don't really do that, and they haven't really done it since like the 90s. Like, I didn't get a game with my PlayStation 4. I subscribed to their annual subscription and got access to play a game the night with my PlayStation 4.
One of the top 10 games.
I love it. No, I don't mean to. I love me some Resogun. Now, with that other game that came out with it wasn't so good. But I mean, you still had to pay the subscription service for it, and if I stopped paying it, I'd lose access to that game. The point I'm trying to make is there aren't a lot of consoles that launch with a launch title, like a full-fledged launch title in the box. But back to 1-2 Switch. Kevin, you mentioned all the videos and all the animations and everything are part of the thing. Like, this is like got to be like the cheapest game they've ever produced. I mean, like, it seems like they threw this together in like.
They paid a lot of actors to do these videos.
Do you think they paid them well? I mean,
my wife said they're probably Nintendo employees. She probably said they're all Nintendo employees. With like, hey, you want to be in the game? And they're all like, yeah.
He probably went to a high school and was like, you got a drama club?
Have you seen those Johnsonville sausage commercials where it's like the employees are making the commercials?
Yeah, but like I mentioned, with Betsy and my wife, they love 1-2 Switch, and my daughter loves 1-2 Switch. She plays it by herself. She does the air guitar, and she does the what's it called? Runway.
Oh yeah.
She does the runway, and she plays both players, two Joy-Cons, picks up one, does a little walk, picks up the other one, does a different little walk, and then sees which one gets the better score. And I know we as gamers think that's really stupid. And to be honest with you, I kind of think it's pretty stupid. I'm like, that's okay. But to the cartridge, right? But to someone like that, like she hasn't played 1 hour of Zelda by herself.
Right.
To put that in perspective. Whereas my son has been his world has been taken over by Zelda. He's yelling at me for hogging the Switch so he can play Zelda. So we're having to share the Switch here, where my daughter hasn't played it at all. So the point I'm trying to make is, I think 1-2 Switch, while for folks listening to our podcast, probably is not at the very top of their list, and they probably look at it as, I can spend $50 better somewhere else. I think a lot of other people, probably don't look at the price as such a hindrance, and a lot of other people are probably looking more at that fun factor, and that fun factor is there. I love playing baseball. I really do. I played baseball with I keep mentioning it. I played baseball with the GIS guy at my work too. We're working on some maps for the marathon, and he's a huge baseball. He played baseball in college. And I was like, dude, I have this new console because I helped him buy his son an Xbox One at Christmas. So he always comes to me for like video games, and he's like, tell me about this Nintendo thing. And I was like, funny you should ask. I actually have it right here in the backpack. And I pulled it out, and we played baseball. And he was like, so it's it's like ear hand coordination, like you hear the prompt. And I was like, yeah. And like we played it, and after about 2 or 3 innings, the only problem I don't like about baseball so far is that you can only play 3 innings. Like, I wish you could play 9 innings, and I wish there was
if you play it on its own, does it go 3 innings?
Yeah.
Like when when we play the team battle mode, it's just 1 inning.
Okay. And I wish there was a home run derby.
And my wife beat me in 1 inning.
My wife beat me in baseball too, so I'll do that.
The home run derby for that would be awesome.
Yeah.
If you could just sit there and like get some batting practice in terms of listening and practicing and hitting and whatnot, that would be great. And then ping pong is cool. It's ping pong.
Yeah.
It's not Wii Sports, at least in my opinion. I think sports kind of has a much more broader appeal. Mm-hmm. Right? So even for women, children, like everybody likes bowling. You know, like you don't have to like golf or like boxing, but everybody likes bowling and ping pong and table tennis. So for that, I don't think it has that kind of appeal, and I think that's 1-2 Switch's biggest problem, is that it kind of does what Wii Sports does, but not as good as Wii Sports.
All right, I have a list of the 1-2 Switch games. I don't know why I'm gesturing.
To give something to watch, give the people on YouTube something to look at.
Yeah.
Show us the list.
Of 1-2 Switch games. I thought we'd just go down all of them and just give like quick yes or no. Not okay. Like I don't want to go in depth. We're going to spend the most time talking about 1-2 Switch. So
apparently,
that's what's going to happen. So anyway, air guitar, yes or no?
Oh, no.
Yes.
No.
Okay. I actually haven't played it. I watched my daughter play it, and it wasn't.
It's really accurate for the strumming.
Okay.
It really is.
So
I think this whole exercise is just going to be Donnie saying yes and me saying no, or vice versa. It's just going to be disagreeing.
Maybe that's Maybe.
I haven't played this next one at all. I assume that Donnie probably has. Baby.
No, I have not done it. I have not done it. I haven't done it. I don't want to. So
you have played it?
Yeah. No.
I played it in real life. I don't need
to. Yeah, exactly.
The balls counting.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I do like that
cool.
one. I do like that. It's fun.
Baseball. I think it's cool. I like the sound and the.
Baseball's cool.
Beach flag.
No.
Yes.
No. Down.
Boxing gym.
Yes.
That one's fun. I like that.
The cool thing about that game is that at the end, it shows you a video of all the people that landed the punches. Yep. Mm-hmm. So when my son and I played for the first time, the video at the end, it was literally just me beating the crap out of my son. Like he landed one punch out of like 60. So we just watched these two characters. This one character is like over and over and over again. And we were all laughing by the time it ended. Like it was just, my wife was like, Jack, you have to punch back.
So now the episode title is Donnie beat the crap out of his son.
There we go. Copy dance?
No.
Yes.
I like copy dance. I like it. Dance off.
Yes.
Dance off gets a yes. My kids, especially my 4-year-old, loves dance off, and she beats everyone else at dance off.
Yeah, that one's. I like that one better than copy dance.
Yeah, me too. Eating contest.
No.
See, I think that one's fun. But it's funnier to watch other people play it. But yes. I like it. It's worth it.
Fake draw.
Yes.
I like that one. That's one of my favorites. Actually,
that's the best.
Yeah, I like that one.
Fromage. Fork.
Yeah, it's great. I like that one.
Gorilla.
No.
No.
Partially because when I was doing it, I was hitting my chest, and then it got mad at me because it says "Don't hit your chest."
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you know I'm hitting my chest? I don't understand. Joy-Con rotation.
No.
Yeah.
I don't like that one either. Milk?
I actually have not played it because I refused to.
You haven't played Milk?
Nope.
Jeez.
I'm down on Milk too.
Yeah. Plate spin?
Yes.
I haven't actually played it.
I've
just watched my kids and wife play it, and I don't know.
Do they try to knock each other down?
No, because they can't keep it spinning.
This is how my kids play this game. They get spinning, and then they try to slap the Joy-Con out of each other's hand, and it's real fun.
That's financially responsible.
Quick draw?
Yes.
Quick draw's good. Runway?
Yes.
I like Runway. I like watching my kids. I like watching. I have actually not done Runway yet. That's one of those where it's fun to watch other people play.
Yes, I'm with you, Seth. I have not played it, but it's fun to watch other people play it. I don't see the appeal for me to play.
Then it means it's a good game if you enjoy watching other people play it.
Yes.
Yeah, fair enough.
Safe crack?
Yes.
I like that one.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. It's hard.
Yeah, sometimes it's really hard to find some of them. Like sometimes I find it easier than others, but I think overall it's a cool use of the Joy-Cons.
Samurai?
No, I wish it was better. I wish it was more.
That's kind of the problem with it.
Yeah.
You just catch.
Shave.
Yes.
I played shave one time.
Oh, shave, yes.
My daughter beat me at shaving. So
yes.
I'm not a very good shaver, as you can see.
Neither am I. Donnie wins in the shaving, so.
The fun part of the shave is that, like, especially if you have kids, they show you what you didn't shave, and they also show you like where you're trying to point the razor. So it's like all up around your eyes and stuff. I was watching my son. I was like, "What are you doing? Like,
why are you shaving your eyebrows, son? Don't ever
let anybody. Don't ever let him hold a razor. Like, it's a danger."
Signal flag.
No.
I really like. I played that with my wife and really liked it. Just because it's the kind of fast and frantic. As you're trying to go back, it goes back and forth between the woman's voice and the man's voice, and and you're trying to figure out. I enjoyed it. Sneaky dice.
No,
I didn't play that one.
Okay. I haven't played it yet.
It's kind of pointless because at first it was gonna be like something like Yahtzee, but they're like, no, roll your dice, and you know how many you got, and you have to make your other person try and talk him into rolling again.
The other person got. Yeah,
right, that's what I mean. Sorry. Yeah. So it's like it just kind of seems pointless because it all depends on the other person listening to you or not listening to you. So it's kind of like it's like whatever. You might as well just roll the dice and whoever gets the highest thing wins because it's kind of irrelevant.
Soda shake.
No.
My daughter likes that one, but I also think that one's just kind of dumb.
Yeah.
So that gets a down vote for me.
Sword fight?
Yes.
I'm torn on sword fight. It's fun for like the first 60 seconds. If it goes on longer than that, it is horrible.
Mm-hmm. So my kids really enjoyed the dojo from like Wii Sports Resort.
Yeah.
And that is literally like basically the same thing.
Yeah, sure.
So they really enjoy it, and anytime we can let them beat each other up without physically beating each other up, it's good by me. So.
Well, I find every time somebody would play it at my house, I wouldn't have the issue, but watching somebody else or whoever I was playing against would always start coming towards me, and I'm like, no, just stand where you are and do what you're doing. Like, stop moving.
My son will walk right to me and like.
Yeah, I'm like, no, don't do this. This is why there's YouTube. People do things like this.
That's why they got that wrist strap.
Yeah.
All right. Table tennis.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thumbs up.
Yeah. Yes.
Always good.
Telephone.
Yeah.
I kind of like that one. It's really short, but it's fun.
Yeah. That's what she said. Treasure chest.
Treasure chest. Oh, the chain one. I like that one. That one's good. That's fun. Wizard. I like Wizard.
My son likes Wizard.
Yeah,
I like. I've only played it once. I almost like the idea of it more than the execution.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
It's hard to tell what you're doing.
Totally. They're like, oh, thrust, but if you thrust too much, it wears out. Donnie, stop. Behave yourself.
It wasn't just me. It was Seth, too.
I don't know. Seth is hiding it with the bottle. It doesn't seem to be as accurate as how it tells you how to play beforehand. So the horrible actors don't portray the game properly then. But yeah, True. The idea of it's awesome, but the execution is mediocre.
And then Zen.
No.
Yeah, no.
The game's awful.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah. All right, so I don't imagine that we're going to do like an official review cast of 1-2 Switch more than this. Heck, we've been talking about it for 15
probably
minutes.
Not.
Yeah.
So if we had to score it, what are you guys looking at?
68.
Okay.
I was going to say 70 actually. So
okay, I was around 65, but yeah. I think that's. I think if we want to include this as our review cast of 1-2 Switch,
sure.
Jason, get on that.
68. That 68. Sounds good to me.
That's what I mean.
It's right in the middle of everyone. 68. I think it's definitely, if it looks like something that if you have people to play it with and people to watch play, if you're in college and you have
rooftop parties.
Yeah, rooftop parties. It would be great if you have little kids. It's great to play with them. It's not a great game.
Paramedics.
They loved it. Everybody loved it.
What's the next game, Kevin?
All right, let's go with Shovel Knight. I don't know if I'm the only one that bought it or not. Am I?
I think we all have Treasure Trove.
Yeah, okay, cool. So Treasure Trove. For me, I was excited when they announced it, even though I think I just bought the 3DS version like 3 or 4 days prior to them announcing the Switch version, how awesome it was going to have and all the stuff. But I'm not mad. I think I'm in the minority here where I had not played Shovel Knight at all until the Switch. So this is my first experience with it. So I'm definitely the minority here, but I find it's a huge bang for your buck. Number one at $25. Even though, yes, I understand if you bought it now, like the week before Switch launch, you could have gotten Steam for like $5 or something. But I'm okay with it. This game, for somebody that's a retro fan and grew up playing the old school video games, if this came out in the 80s, early 90s, this would have been like the platformer game, period. Like, this could have competed with the Super Mario Brothers 3. That's how good this game is. The music is on point. The mechanics are on point. The premise of it I love. So I haven't played Spectre of Torment or the other one yet. Or the one that's coming yet. Obviously, I'm just still working through the regular Shovel Knight, but I think it's fan-freaking-tastic. So,
and you have the regular Shovel Knight.
Yeah.
There's Plague of Shadows.
Plague of Shadows, that's it.
Torment. Those are all there already. Yeah. And then there's going to be one with King Knight later on.
That's right. I love it. I mean, it's clearly inspired very much by, for those of you who haven't played, like Metroid. With a little bit of Mega Man there because of the multiple
Mega Man
knights that you have to battle up against. So, I mean, it's great. I'm not going to get into a whole thing on it. Maybe I'll eventually do a review on it or somebody else will do it. But it's totally great. I think if you purchase a Switch and you haven't played the mess out of Shovel Knight already, you have to buy it.
Yeah, the original Shovel Knight is that we don't have a list yet up on our site, but I have it number 3 on my PlayStation 4 games list. Oh, wow. It's one of my favorite games of this generation, however loosely defined you want to go.
Yeah.
I haven't played the original campaign yet on the Switch, but I got the whole thing. Plague Knight I wasn't as crazy about, but it's more Shovel Knight. Spectre Knight I love. It changes it enough. The Spectre Knight is a lot of fun to just maneuver around the level, and the story was already interesting in Shovel Knight, but the Spectre Knight story is interesting. I've only played 2 levels so far because I've been so swept up in Zelda. But it's a great game. It's gorgeous on a big screen. It's gorgeous on a small screen. And it's absolutely, we might rank games later or whatever, but even only having played it for maybe an hour, my second favorite game past Zelda on the console.
I think that's fair. Because it's not $20, it's hard to, you can't say it's the best $20 to spend on the console. But if you're going to spend money on the Switch, I think $25 is better spent on Shovel Knight, especially for anybody that's like listening to the podcast. Yeah. I played through Shovel Knight on 3DS, and that was one of the games that I absolutely got swept up in. I will admit I had to use cheat codes to beat it. I think Shovel Knight's hard. I guess I'm in the minority.
It's difficult.
So I unlocked a bunch of the invincibility stuff because I gave up on it after a while. I played it a lot. I think I played it like almost exclusively for like 6 weeks. I got pretty far, but eventually I just kind of couldn't go any further, and I just got like super jump mechanic and all that, and could just like fly through the level. So, I wasn't extremely like excited to come back to Shovel Knight, but at $25 with all the campaigns and everything, because I had just played just Shovel Knight, nothing else, just the Shovel Knight story, and tried doing the Plague of Shadows. I agree with you, Seth. So I smiled. I didn't really enjoy that either. Spectre Knight though is fantastic. It is. Yeah. You're right. It's the same game, but it's just different enough, right? It's just a twist. It's the same game with just the right amount of twist that it's fun to play. It's almost like the Halloween version of Shovel Knight. So it's like how I would, I've only played 6 or 7 levels. I put in some time, on the first day. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it was fun. It's really good. I really enjoy it, and my daughter really enjoys it. And she's got this Dark Soul addictiveness to Shovel Knight right now, where she keeps dying over and over again, and then she just like screams at the TV. She's like, "I'm going to beat this," and she just kind of keeps doing it. So she's really into it. And I think if you're buying a Switch, I think it's a must-have.
So Shovel Knight is we alluded a long time ago about my Amiibo purchase, which I've said that I'm not going to buy Amiibo. Shovel Knight is the one Amiibo that I own, and actually I haven't used it yet just because I've been going hard on Zelda. But Shovel Knight is the amiibo. I just wanted the little fairy Shovel Knight to fly along with me. So anyway,
can I just say I looked up when Donnie said there were cheat codes for Shovel Knight. There are over 300 cheat codes.
Yeah. They're awesome, actually. They're like old school cheat codes. A lot of them are really fun.
Well, so this is the one I want to point out. I stopped looking once I hit this. This is one of the first ones that came up. So, Josh, if you're listening, resident PSVG Josh, there is a butt mode cheat code where it replaces important parts of the dialogue with the word butt.
But
so
yeah, there is
#butts.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought you guys like poo-pooed on me for saying I use cheat codes. A lot of those cheat codes are a blast. Like I had a lot more fun post cheat code than pre cheat code. Like,
I don't really crack on people for cheat codes because sometimes you just don't have the time or you can't get through it, and I'd rather have you experience the game anyway than not play it and give up because you were frustrated. So no, I'm not one of those gamers who are like, "Oh, I use cheat codes." That's fine.
Right.
Doesn't bother me.
That's the thing. Like with Zelda, some of the shrines.
Oh yeah.
I get through. I tried a couple times on my own, trying to figure it out, but in the end, other than the motion shrines, which I hated, if I couldn't figure something out and I could just look it up online, and then I feel dumb because it's like, oh yeah, of course.
You're like, I didn't even think of that.
You do whatever.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've done it a few shrines.
It's your own. It's your own game. It's your own thing, and it's there to enjoy.
As long as you're playing, I ain't mad.
I didn't pay for that collector's edition guide for nothing.
Yeah. So other let's see, what other launch day games? How about Bomberman? How's Bomberman?
I don't have it. I think Donnie's the only one, right?
Yeah.
So Bomberman isn't good. However, I want to maybe put a placeholder on this, like a rain check, because I did see earlier this week that they released a patch that apparently made it better. And what I mean by better, and we did a launch day stream, my kids and I. So like on launch day, we set up a stream, and it's like some of Shovel Knight and some of Bomberman and some of Zelda. And I think the launch stream is titled Zelda. Yeah. And it's only like a third of it's actually Zelda. But during the Bomberman thing, you can actually hear me complain in real time. First time I've ever put my hands on that game, I was going, why can't I control this correctly? Like I'm pressing up and it's late, and I'm pressing down and it's late, and that's a problem in this game because everything's like grid based, right? So if you're trying to get out of the lane and it's not on point, like that's a major hiccup. Apparently, that's a real thing. That wasn't me just sucking at video games, which I attributed it to. I literally just chalked it up to apparently I'm not that good. But then I listened to podcasts and whatnot, and a lot of people are like, "No, there's a lot of lag right now in Bomberman," and apparently they released a patch that fixes some input lag. So I'd like to go back and give it another try.
That'd be good because honestly, I wanted to get it, and I've still been on the fence. Like I want it to be good, but I've heard the same things you said, where a lot of people are just like, "It's all right," and I mean, it's like I can't pull the trigger waiting on it.
Outside of the input lag, actually, I would say there's a good game there. The little animations for all the Bombermen and whatnot that get you in and out of the levels, it's like reminds me of like Commander Video, and it's like BitChute Runner. It's really kind of funny and it's cool, and it's me and the kids sit there and laugh, and we can watch, and it's it's just over the top. It's just that the game isn't like this 2D but like slanted, right? So it's not like top down as much as it's kind of from an angle. And when you have that input lag, it was hard to like. There was times where I was like, how do I get down? And you had to walk up against the wall, and I couldn't tell that there was an up there. So like the perspective was throwing me off. I'd really like to try it without that input lag. And honestly, just like the rest of us, we've all been playing the mess out of Zelda. I have had no, intrigue to get back to it. Although, I mean, I do want to say that I think it looks better than I thought it would look. It definitely doesn't look as crude as I thought it did at E3. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it, if they fix the input lag, it plays well. I hope if that's fixed, it plays well enough to warrant some purchases. I still don't, because this is kind of like my first Bomberman game. I played Bomberman on the 64, but I think it was like a like a rental from Blockbuster or something. I just remember playing it. I don't think I ever like invested any time to it. So I still don't understand all the nuances that the game has to have. I think once I get done with Zelda and I'm not so focused on getting a game completed, because right now, we don't want to talk too much about Zelda, but obviously, listeners, we're preparing to do a Zelda review cast. It's coming really fast. We're all trying to beat Zelda so we can all sit down and talk about the Zelda review cast. And it feels almost like a waste of time if I'm playing anything other than that. And I feel like once we get past that, then I'll start to sit down and play Bomberman more like casually, more kind of in flow with how I play games, like while I'm watching TV, while I'm watching movies, kind of in and out stuff. And I think that's where I'll probably get more value out of Bomberman. But I think it's still kind of the verdict for me is kind of left out on that.
Well, that's one of the part of the reason I beat Zelda tonight. One, I want to play Mass Effect, and then this next week I'm going away and I'm going to take my Switch with me, but I kind of wanted to beat Zelda at home on the big screen. I didn't want to beat it on the road. I think that the Switch's portable screen is beautiful, and I probably played it. If I played Zelda for 55 hours, roughly, maybe, I probably played half of it on the portable screen, sitting in my chair. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to finish. I wanted to do the Ganon fight on the big screen. I wanted to see the final stuff on that. So. And also, I'm looking forward to, while I'm on my trip, playing more of Shovel Knight and Fast RMX and so on. So so it's almost kind of like this weight that's lifted now that I've beaten Zelda, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But now I'm free to go do other things. Speaking of Fast RMX, I believe Donnie and I both have that. Mm-hmm. I played I'd never played a fast game previously. I didn't have a Wii U, and I got it just because I thought it looked good. It's certainly a graphical showcase for the Switch, and I like arcade racers. I'm not great at them, but I like playing with them for a little bit. I've really only done I think 3 circuits now, and I couldn't even tell you which ones they were, but the top left one and the middle one, top one, second left one.
So if you don't already own it, this means nothing to you at home.
Yeah, and I'm on novice, so I'm not very good at the game, but I like it.
It's hard.
It is gorgeous. It's fast. And I like that it's simple to play, but it's hard. Mm-hmm. I always mess up at the beginning of the races because I expect my cart to just go, and always forget that you have to hold down A to make it go. But really, you're holding down A and it's going, and then you're steering left and right on your Joy-Con, and then you have a boost button, and then you have a button where you switch colors from orange to blue. And if you are in an orange track, you come up on an orange section, you have to be orange, and it'll boost you. If you come up on a blue section, you have to toggle over to blue, and it'll boost you. And if you're on the other color, it'll slow you down. And that's it. That's all there is to the game. And it's good. I like it a lot. I'm looking forward now to getting back into it a lot more.
Yeah, Fast RMX is great. I played the Fast Racing Neo on Wii U. That game came out while we were doing our podcast thing, right? And I talked to you about that, right, Kevin?
Yes. Yep.
I remember. I think I brought it up on our Wii Remember Me thing. Like, I don't think it made our list or anything like that, but
it did not. But you did bring it up.
I did bring it up. It's a good game. It's really fun. The triggers, by the way, drift or lean. So just to throw that into your control breakdown.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't done that.
Where's the trigger?
Then you're playing it. You're making it infinitely harder on you. It's a hard game.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It really is. Like I'm playing on novice too. I think I cleared 2 cups.
The top left one and the middle.
No, just the first 2. And it's because I played so much of it already. I'm not like dying to go play it. It is basically the exact same thing. Runs at a higher frame rate, by the way. Can definitely tell that. that's one of those games. I think I told Seth the day you bought it. That's one of those games that somebody goes, "Hey, let me see that Switch thing you got," and you boot that game up, and they're like,
Sure.
"Whoa! I didn't think a tablet could do that." That's definitely one of those type of games, and it's hectic and it's fun, and it's. I think I beat most of that game on Wii U. I unlocked most of what it had to offer because we played it for 2 or 3 weeks, and I kind of think that's what that game is. That's one of those games where there's a lull in what you're doing, or you're kind of waiting to play something else and you don't want to get into something, and you kind of just throw a week at Fast RMX and you kind of get into it and you love it and it has fun with it, and then you just move on and you never come back to it. I'm never game when Mario Kart 8 comes out, and I told Seth that, and it's exactly what I told Seth. I was like, "You're gonna have fun with it, and then you're never gonna play it once Mario Kart comes out." That's about it. But granted, for its credit, it doesn't cost $60. It's a budget title.
Totally.
It's got beautiful graphics and really good music, fun, like little sound effects and music. Yeah, that's kind of a big part of that game.
So I think we're back to me.
Yeah.
The only other one I have, which I don't think either of you do, is Blaster Master Zero, correct?
Right, and that's kind of the big one.
Yeah, it's when they showed that in the indie showcase, I was very excited for it. Devin was excited for it on the staff when he saw that was out there, even though he doesn't have a Switch.
He's getting one.
He will get one.
He'll have one by the end of the year.
Oh yeah, I agree. And Josh was asking me about it too. And all I can say, excuse me, if you are a fan of Blaster Master from back in the day, you will love this.
And what if you've never played Blaster Master? I have no idea what it is.
Probably will not like this. So that's totally where I was going with it. It's not a game for everybody. The original, even in itself, wasn't super popular. It just ended up with a cult following way later down the line. To kind of explain, and this is where it gets a little weird, is so it's your character, and you have a tank, and the levels are split up between parts where you're in the tank and when you're not in the tank. So you would think, Kevin, logically speaking, when I'm not in the tank, the game changes its gameplay and it's like a platformer, right? No. It is like a platformer when you're in the tank, which doesn't necessarily make sense. So there is actually platforming aspects and jumps you have to do inside of this tank. And you also, the tank obviously can shoot, and you can shoot straight behind you and like up at an angle. So it's actually like aiming with the shooting while you're jumping. But then when you do need to come out of the tank, the levels are top down, if you think kind of like Bomberman is. And that's how the levels is when you're out of your tank and you have your blaster and you kind of go through the levels to get the key or the map or whatever else you need to before you hop back in your tank and head off to the next level. So it's definitely unique in those regards. I would not recommend it for anybody who's not a fan of retro games or a fan of the old Blaster Master, honestly. Yeah, it's super cheap. It's $6 or $7. I forget exactly what it was, but if you don't know the source material or have an appreciation for the older games and the quirks that they all have, this isn't your Shovel Knight. This isn't anything like that. It's just strictly for those people. So I think it'll do well. If I were to like score it right now, I'd probably give it a 75, 80 range. But that's me having that experience. I think if Donnie were to play it, he'd be like, this is a 30 or a 40. It's clearly not for everybody. And that's not poking fun at Donnie. It's just saying like he hasn't played it, so I don't think it would even register any sort of appreciation from him. He'd just be like, "This is dumb.
Hard?
This doesn't." Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that would be a definitely downer because I mean I'm not opposed to retro games. I really like some retro games.
Yeah.
But does it have butt cheat codes?
Not to my knowledge. There's no butts. Well, there is a butt when he's out of the tank, I guess. But
sorry, Josh.
Yeah. It's an odd game, but if you're a fan of the original, you will absolutely love Blaster Master Zero. It's just if you're not, then save your money. It's not for everybody. I'm having a blast with it, but it's definitely not for everybody.
Nobody did the $25 rhythm game Voez or any of the Neo Geo stuff?
Nope. I was thinking about Metal Slug 3, but I just haven't done it.
Isn't that the bad Metal Slug?
It's not the best, but it's Metal Slug, so I don't think there's really any bad Metal Slug. But
almost
that would be the only one that would get me to trigger. But here's the thing with the Neo Geo. So if you actually break down the list of all the games they've released, like 90% of them are fighting games. So how the heck do you sit here and say this one's better than that one when they're literally all the same thing, just with different characters? King of the Fighters I did play back in the day, so I would say that's probably the most well-known one that Neo Geo did.
That one I almost bought.
Yeah, that would be the only one that I would even consider, but I don't think I'm
getting golf tomorrow though.
Yeah, I want to see what else is coming out tomorrow. That town building type game. That seems
Town Builder.
intriguing.
Or is it
Town Builder?
No, it's called Frontier Town, I think.
Yeah, something like that. That seems
like a Facebook game to me. I don't know.
It seems like the stuff I play on my phone.
Yeah.
So to me, and I like those kind of games. So that might be something. Yeah, oh yeah. So I might purchase that one, but I don't know what else is coming up.
Have any of you played I forget what the company is, but World of Goo, Little Inferno, and what's the other one?
Human Resource Machine.
Human Resource. Have any of you played that elsewhere?
I have played World of Goo. Okay. And it's fine. It's not a bad game at all. It's very unique for its time. It's just at this point, it's an old game. I mean, that came out at least 5 years ago, if not longer.
Came out on Wii.
Yeah, I mean, So
it came on Wii.
That's right.
It was. I think I saw it was a 2008 release.
Yeah. Okay, so it's almost 10 years old. It doesn't feel new or fresh, so that's why I didn't buy it. I thought about buying Little Inferno because I've heard
that's one I did play.
Yeah, see, I've heard it's unique and it's weird, which we all know I like the unique and
like
weird.
But
yeah, some people absolutely hate it and were like, "There's no point to it," but then some people like it. So that one I may purchase. Human Resource Machine I thought would be kind of cool, but then when I read more into it, it's more like coding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was just nah, I do that in real life sometimes. I don't want to do it.
As a person, I work for a school district, and obviously you guys have kids in school also, as do I. And one of the big pushes is STEM, science, technology, education, math, and coding. And my daughter, who's in first grade, has done a tiny bit of coding, just kind of some stuff that I've taken her to. Mm-hmm. And it was just, that's what Human Resource Machine is. It's order of operations, basic level coding. And I thought that was really cool, just as as an actual educational tool. I don't know how much fun it'll be to play, but that's one that kind of intrigues me, and that I can see myself getting at some point. I don't really feel the need to purchase another game right now, because I have plenty. But at some point, I can see jumping in on that. So I think we've covered all the games we have.
Yeah,
sounds like
so. Right?
Yeah, cool. So Donnie, you wanted to rank them. Each of us kind of rank our own.
Yeah,
non-Zelda games. I assume if we included Zelda, Zelda's number one.
Number one.
Yeah, got number 4 on my list.
Okay, cool.
It's behind 1-2 Switch and
King of Fighters
and Just Dance. I'll go first because I think mine's the easiest. So wait, we're ranking everything we have, or just picking top
just
3?
Okay, 3.
So
here's the 3 games you should buy after you buy Zelda.
Okay, gotcha. So I'm saying Snipperclips. I am saying Shovel Knight. I hate to say this, man, but I'm going to say 1-2 Switch over Blaster Master Zero just because I don't think it would appeal to as many people. So, oh wow,
that's my top 3.
Wow. So if you're not watching the video, Donnie has the exact same 3 in the exact same order I put him in. Yep. So Seth, go ahead, crush all of our dreams.
No, actually, I agree with you. I have trouble trying to decide between Snipperclips and Shovel Knight as my top. Shovel Knight for if you're a core gamer, and certainly if you're getting this as your own system, you don't really have too many people to play with. Shovel Knight, definitely if you have friends to play with, a significant other, kids, whatever. Snipperclips is great, and I think 1-2 Switch, as far as being able to show off the system, is great too. So I probably in that same order. Snipperclips, Shovel Knight, and 1-2 Switch. And if you wanted to, I guess, go cheaper than 1-2 Switch, I really do enjoy Fast RMX. But as far as what I think, pretty much consensus, Snipperclips, Shovel Knight, and 1-2 Switch are pretty good. And that's really you think about it, those 4 games from Zelda on down through 1-2 Switch, that's a heck of a launch lineup as far as day one. yeah, there's not a ton of choice out there, but the choices that you have,
and the variety of them,
the variety of them, and though we haven't rated all of them yet, but if we're at 1-2 switch with the 68, and that's the bottom of any game we played, except maybe Bomberman, and maybe that was broken, who knows?
Right?
Yeah, like I said.
But at 68, which is still a good game, and we all enjoy our time with 1-2 switch up through Snipperclips, Shovel Knight, and Zelda are all.
I think it's funny that
games.
I think it's funny that we're all like, well, if it wasn't $50, and yet all three of us bought it at $50. So obviously, Nintendo disagrees with that statement.
That's true. I'm sure sales numbers do too. They haven't really talked about sales numbers other than Zelda, so which even then they haven't given the hard numbers for Zelda yet either. We anticipate.
I had to wait a week. There wasn't a copy within 30 miles of my house. I had to wait a week to go get it.
To get one
after we played it for 3 or 4 days, and my daughter saw the commercial on there with them doing the little waggle thing, and she was like, I want 1-2 switch, and I was like, we got all this credit. All right, let's go. Right. And then we went to the store, and they were like, sorry, we haven't had it since launch day, and I had to wait a week. Now, I could have bought it digitally, but I had to wait a week. It was sold out.
I think too, it totally benefited from coming out as a launch title. I think if 1-2 switch came out this time next year, it would
every game benefits as a launch title. How many people bought Contrast? And that's the name of that game I got with PlayStation. The Contrast. It wasn't good. Yeah, I mean everybody buys because you want to buy everything. You want to play. You want like an instant library. You want more than 2 games. So absolutely. The cool thing about before we move on, the cool thing about World of Goo is that it basically demonstrates that the Switch can play like Wii games. It's got pointer controls like locked in without the sensor bar. So you can just basically point at your TV and then calibrate it from that point forward and move. So those Joy-Cons got some pretty fancy tech in there. Also, a couple of things. I'm not sure if you guys wanted to do this or not, but a couple of things that I wanted to point out. Yes, the Neo Geo golf game is coming to Switch. That means something to me and nobody else. But also, Has Been Heroes is coming out. Yes. Was it in 4 days?
Next week, next Tuesday.
Snake Pass is coming out, which is like this snake. I don't want to call it a platform. It's like a collectathon where you kind of control a snake that's like on rails and you move around stuff.
It looks not exciting. I don't know that game. Are either of you excited for Snake Pass?
My kids lit up when they saw that game. They are super excited to play a game as a snake. Like my son is all about it. So we're definitely going to get that, and I'll stream it or get their impressions or something. I mean, I agree with you. I'm not super excited about it, but they are. So they're going to get the purchase on me.
Donnie, the trick with having kids is to not show them stuff that they're going to be excited about, but you think is dumb.
They saw the indie showcase, and that was like one of theirs.
That's why every time you buy a game, you have to lick the cartridge. No. Every time you want to play 1-2 Switch,
digital only.
1-2 Switch.
It's digital only. Lego City Undercover. Lego City Undercover is 10 days away from launch?
I believe so.
10-ish. Yeah, it's 2 weeks away from launch. Launching in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And they did say that it's been fixed. That was something that they went out last week, and we retweeted and tweeted about it, all the articles that came out on it. They said that all of their load times and everything has been fixed. Now, that still remains to be seen. I haven't seen definitive proof of anybody with preview copies yet, but if we take them at their word, that's awesome, because Kevin and I both agree that's a really fun game. Yeah. If you've never played it, you should definitely play it. It's also out on Xbox One and PlayStation 4, so if you're not
that's why I think it's fixed. I think it's fixed because of that. I don't think they would release it multi-platform and then condition it wasn't the Wii U at all. But
I hope so. And so, I mean, even if you're not getting a Switch, you should definitely get that game. That's a fun game. It's a big open world, lots to do. Yeah, big collectathon game. It's got great writing, voice acting.
It is funny. Yeah.
And that side of it, it's like through the roof presentation. And then Mario Kart. Mario Kart and Puyo Tetris. I mean, we're about less than a month, so the games cometh, and Pocket Rumble. Which, Kevin, what's your thing with Pocket Rumble?
I don't know. To me, it looks kind of dumb, but that's just me.
It's $9.
But still,
what does it even have to do to you to spend $9?
I think all of the Neo Geo fighters look 100% better than that game does.
Oh, really?
But, yeah.
Okay. I kind of dug the Streets of Rage Tamagotchi kind of thing. I thought it was
to me, it's I don't know. I don't have a problem with people using retro or bit graphics for stuff, but sometimes they just do it for the sake of doing it, and I feel this is one of those instances.
Maybe so. Anything else? Any other games on the horizon? You guys are like, I know. Seth, you're all about the Has Been Heroes.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm since that was revealed, I've been excited for Has Been Heroes. I just like the art style. Too, right? Yeah, it's $20. I'm getting that physically at GameStop. So I don't know. I'm excited for that. Other than that, probably won't be till Mario Kart that I'll get something else. So, and I already have that.
I think if any of those indie games that are coming, there were several of those that were marked for April.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Nintendo's been really close to the chest with when stuff is coming out. So, like, you knew about the golf thing. I hadn't heard anything about it. And if you look at the coming soon in the eShop, there's like 10 titles, but they're all like the big titles we already knew. So it's not like, Lego City Undercover's there and Mario Kart.
So it's interesting.
Some of them there is.
I'd like to, if we can, let's talk about that for a moment, because it's very interesting. And I'll bring up a few facts. So we had our discussion with Jeremy Alessi, the Fire Swap dev,
Swap Fire.
Swap Fire, and he mentioned that he put in to be there for Switch, and he said that they wanted more successful titles there at launch.
Right. Yep.
And then, if anybody out there is a big fan of the Kind of Funny community, at some point I remember watching, I think it was their morning show before Colin left, where he stated that he'd been hearing that Nintendo's been doing some stuff that indie developers didn't enjoy. It was when the indie stuff came out, and I was watching their reactions. And apparently, his case was, Nintendo's not being completely forthright because they're controlling the eShop a lot. I thought it was interesting, and I wanted to write something about it, but I was busy working. I thought it interesting because I think, and Seth, you might be able to correct me on this, is he also not the exact same person that says that the PlayStation 4 store should be more controlled because it's like just constant blitz of games being released?
Right. He says there are too many games, but I think part of that is he thinks that there should be more control over it. Like some game was released a couple weeks ago, a month or two ago now, called Life of Black Tiger, which I guess was terrible.
Yeah.
And just that there's not good quality control on PlayStation. So I think maybe there's something, maybe somewhere in the middle of what Nintendo is maybe doing, who knows, and what PlayStation is doing, which appears to be letting whoever publish something on there.
I don't think that there's a problem with Nintendo not allowing stuff to come out. Like, I'm fine with them pacing and staggering the releases. I just want to know when stuff is coming out.
Yes.
Like, that's what I want to know. So, like, if there's stuff that's being released this Thursday, let me know ahead of time so I can plan what my purchases are. Don't drop them on that day. Like, the Neo Geo stuff that dropped not last week, the week before, I had no clue any of that stuff was coming out. Like, I knew Blaster Master Zero was coming out. I'm like, all right. And they're like, and here's 8 Neo Geo games or whatever it was. And I'm like, I didn't even know these were coming. So, like, it's fine if you want to stagger the releases, but like, have a calendar saying like, hey, this is coming out this is coming out then, so gamers can plan for it. I know maybe the developers don't want that because they don't want you thinking, well, if this comes out same time as this, I'm not going to buy this. But to me, they're still going to do the same thing when they see the titles drop. But I just want to know what's coming out so I can plan.
To be fair, like on PlayStation, which I'm much more familiar with, they put up the drop on... now it's on Fridays. Used to be on Sundays before Tuesday release.
Yeah.
And usually, I mean, every week, next week is when the show comes out. But I couldn't tell you today on Wednesday one other game that's coming to PlayStation next week, other than Has Been Heroes actually is coming. The only reason I know that is because of the Switch. But other than that, I couldn't tell you one game, and there will probably be 10 games released next week on PS4.
At least.
Yeah, and that's a big reason why I think.
So we don't find out. Now, it would be nice, Nintendo, we'll find out here tomorrow on Thursday on the day that they get released or whatever. But it would be nice to know.
Even a couple days, just something like, so if you drop on Thursday, let me know on Sunday or Monday when I go to work. Like, let me be able to read and be like, oh, cool, this is coming out. like you said, the drop does it Friday or Thursday before, so you have the weekend to kind of think about what you want to buy. Xbox does the same thing. It's just like Nintendo is literally like, no, we're not going to tell you until the day it's out, unless it's a big top tier release like your Mario Kart, like your Lego City. Like, you know when those games are coming out.
Right.
But as far as the digital and the indie stuff, that we haven't gotten a heads up on a ton of things until the day of. And I think that with the indie showcase, we're going to see that more and more as it comes down the line, where like, oh, by the way, remember that really cool game you saw in that video like 2 months ago? Oh, it's out today.
I don't think that's true. I mean, we've known Has Been Heroes coming out since launch, and I've known Snake Pass coming out for a couple of weeks. I think
but
by
Has
the time
Been Heroes is coming out on, it's not a Switch exclusive. Like
Right, multi-platform. It has a physical release. Like, you can buy a copy.
I would expect some of the higher profile indie games that were announced, things like Yooka-Laylee, Mr. Switchy, Flippin' Death. I would expect them to, hey, we're launching on Switch May 3rd, and they'll tell us that April 15th or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't really care. And, to be honest with you, not that I don't want to say I agree or disagree with your point. I'm just kind of moot on that point altogether. These aren't games you're running to go buy. So if they drop that day and you find out that day, I don't think it really matters. Like, I mean, does it really matter? Like, you're either going to buy it or you're not. And knowing 2 days before it or not, I don't think is going to do a whole lot. Plus, a lot of people aren't paying attention like you and I are, and getting the press release and stuff. Stuff like this Neo Geo golf game that I'm excited to buy tomorrow. Apparently, has been out on PlayStation, and people even told me about it. And to be honest with you, and I check into the PlayStation Store like once a week and stuff, and I completely missed it. I really did, because it just didn't at the time. I never saw any video of it, so it wasn't registering for me. So you could
have reviewed it.
Right, you probably just said, a golf game's coming, and I probably, chalking it up to Stick Golf and Dangerous Golf and the other crappy golf games. So like, I needed somebody to put it in my face. Not to point that out. I mean, it's really like on PlayStation, there's just so much, right? There's so much stuff coming out constantly that it's hard to keep up. And especially if you're not really following it, it's also real easy to get buried. That's kind of where I see like these indie games. I kind of like what Nintendo's doing, and I kind of thought Colin would have too. I was kind of a little let down because for a long time he's been saying that, and quality control, and we need people to supervise and see these things and make a point of it. And I kind of like how they're kind of like, we're kind of getting like one game a week. Right? So like, we're going to get Has Been Heroes, and then we're going to get Snake Pass, and we're going to get Lego City. And I think I'd expect Pocket Rumble to be in there, and I know there's 2 or 3 indie games slated for April, but they'll come before Mario Kart. So it kind of feels like every week something's probably getting a little bit more attention than it should have if 4 or 5 of them came out together. Right. And I like that.
Right. And I don't know what all the points were exactly, but I don't know that the measured releases are the problem. It's if you're a developer and Nintendo says, yeah, you can come on our platform, and they're not telling you when, and you have your game ready, and it's like, okay, well, we could launch on March 28th, but Nintendo's not telling you.
I think a lot of people are saying those things, like, we're ready to go.
So if that's the problem, that's a problem. It's not a problem to say,
is it really though?
Heroes. I don't know. I mean, we don't.
I don't necessarily think it's a problem.
I think it's a problem for the developer, because if they have money tied up and they're like, "Hey, I need to start being able to pay my rent or my mortgage because I, sold my car to finish up this development," then if they're on hold indefinitely, saying, "Well, we'll get to your game," and it comes out, let's say 3-4 months down the line, that could totally be a problem for them. That's not something we're going to hear about or we're going to see, but I mean, Jeremy Alessi told us his story with Swapfire, and we saw what happened to the guys with Poncho. Suppose that they were waiting, and their sales were quote unquote disappointing. Imagine if you just didn't have sales, but your game was done. They could have been like, "Well, I wanted to be exclusive to Nintendo, but they're yanking my chain. I could have already published this on PlayStation and Xbox and made something." And
in that case, if they want to do that, I think they should. I mean, it's one of those things where I absolutely agree with you, and there's a big part of me, I think, especially kind of with the gaming subculture, especially for blogs like us, like we want to support every developer, we want everybody successful and everybody make money, keep making more games. But obviously, I mean, there's a market, and the market will dictate things as they go. And if Has Been Heroes can make more money by releasing on PlayStation, I mean, Rhyme's doing it. Rime's charging us more money and releasing earlier on the other platforms, and I'm probably still going to buy it.
Let's not get into that.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, that's not Nintendo's fault.
Yeah.
Like, if you can, I don't know.
Well, and Has Been Heroes, if that's not an indie game, that's GameStop.
Yeah. I mean, it's still...
I would argue that GameStop's an indie game at this point.
Yeah, I would too.
Into the Deep and whatever that other one was that they did. So it's like,
Well, right, but it's not. I mean, but they're a publisher behind him. It's not Jeremy Alessi publishing his game.
You're right. It's not somebody going to the.
They've got money behind it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right in that aspect.
And they can throw their weight around a little bit more than Swapfire.
That's the point I was trying to make. Is it's a different approach. Sure. I think it's. I don't think it's a right or a wrong approach. I just think it's a different approach. If Nintendo thinks, controlling the releases of games, especially to pad out their calendar, as we've talked about ad nauseum already, they don't have third parties. Like, what's missing in this launch lineup?
This is their third party. The indies are their third party. Right?
There's no sports game or shooter here. Like, they don't have 2 or 3 shooters for me to pick from and 8 different sport games for you to enjoy.
This is why they need Swapfire. You hear that, Jeremy? This is why they need Swapfire.
Which is why I think they're doing this. I look at it and I go, well, I mean, what other option do they have? Let all the indies launch at the exact same week. They cannibalize each other, and then they don't have anything for weeks.
Yeah. And then we end up with the Wii U situation where, like, there's nothing to play.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, I get that. But once again, I'm not saying don't stagger. I'm saying let them be able to talk about when their game's coming out. Like, let's say Swapfire was hitting, and Jeremy was able right now to pimp that game out, try and get the attention of every other podcast, every other journalist out there to get them to hype it up for, even if it's a June launch. Let's go 6 months down the line. That gives them time to build the hype. Where these developers aren't even allowed to say, even if they know when it's coming out, they're not allowed to talk about it until Nintendo says.
A lot of them are getting windows. A lot of them are getting windows, right? Mid-April, late April, early May, summer. Like, they're getting windows. So I expect that stuff to come into focus. You remember, again, this is a console launch. So a lot of this is moving targets. All the World of Goo, Tomorrow Corporation stuff, that was all supposed to be launch day.
Yeah,
something happened. They had to push.
They couldn't finish the game in time. That's what happened.
Right.
They were
we don't even have networking apps. I can't even send you a message. Like, there's still a lot of stuff that's going to come. Like, there's a lot of updates to come to this bad boy.
Yeah.
Very, very quickly, I would expect. So, it could just be a launch hiccup.
I agree. So I think we're probably ready to wrap it up then. We've kind of gone on for an hour and 40 minutes about things not Zelda. So yes, boys and girls, we talked about Switch, but it wasn't all about Zelda, so it's okay. Shh.
Zelda's amazing though.
It is. But we'll get to that another time. But yeah, Zelda's amazing. So before we leave, why don't we tell everybody where they can find us? And then we'll let them go for tonight. So Donnie.
You can find me on the Twitter at Playin' Nintendo. Obviously, you can find us at PSVG on Twitter, where we're tweeting all kinds of stuff. We've got a lot of neat stuff in the works for you guys. It's going to take me about a week or two to get it all out, but definitely be paying attention because we've got some stuff coming down the pipe.
Yes, we do. Seth, where can they find you?
On Twitter, I'm at Seth Joseph Roy, and that's really about it. On PSN, I'm Seth is the Goat, and on Nintendo Switch, my friend code is Who the Heck Knows.
We got to post those somewhere.
Might be up on our website. I probably need to update my friend code. I don't know.
Just friend him on Miitomo.
There you go. Anyway, yeah. But if you follow me on Twitter, you get pictures of food I'm eating and kids and college stuff and whatever. So, yeah.
All right. So you can follow me if you want to follow me on Twitter. I'm trying to be a little more active on it when I can. You can find me at PSVG Kevin. Koch 1212 on everything else. COTCH 1212 on your PlayStation, on your Steam, on your Switch, on your 3DS, on everything. But yeah, we got to update our things for our friend codes for people who don't play with us on the Fire Emblem game or Miitomo or anything like that. As far as podcasts, make sure to visit playsomevideogames.com, your source for all things fun. We're trying to get some more reviews pumped out, a little more news. We have a new interview up there with another game developer. So we're trying to do a little bit more stuff like that, getting people back on track now that we're starting to wrap up Zelda so we can talk and review and play something else as we're going along. Find us on Facebook, facebook.com/playsomevideogames, youtube.com/playsomevideogames. Feel free to email us if you have any questions or anything you want to hear us talk about on the podcast, or suggestions for ideas for articles. We'll be happy to hear those. So write into us at podcast@playsomevideogames.com. I think I covered everything.
Sounds good.
I think it did. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, first off, let me see a 1-2 switch. And then, remember, never stop gaming. Boom.